Tony, tell me, are we better off than 4 years ago? And if you obviously feel differently, why? And what do we need to do to move America forward and start growing again?
Well, it was fun to meet Mark Cuban and to be here with him. And it was the first time I was listening very carefully when you were talking to him. And unfortunately, I disagree with him rather starkly. 4 years ago, Mark mentioned that we were in the throes of an earthquake. And everything was shaking.
Yes.
Because there was a fault beneath us. The fault had to do with home lending, irresponsible home lending, and a bunch of other reasons that we've discussed and don't need to repeat at this moment. Today, the shaking stopped, but the fault is orders of magnitude bigger. There is there's no metric, no measurement of the health of the American economy that isn't worse today than it was before. And anybody with any fundamental understanding of what our lives and our living standard is pinned upon will recognize that we are in much worse shape at 16 trillion in debt and climbing. You know, right now the government is borrowing, as everybody knows, 40 cents on every dollar, but they're paying no interest for it. We're artificially repressing the cost of interest and keeping it at 400 billion a year. Let's remember, the government takes in 2.4 trillion a year. 400 billion of it or so is going to interest. When we're paying no interest, if we stop artificially keeping interest rates down,
or investors say, I want a better return. You're not.
Well, they have said they want a better return, which is why the Fed steps in, creates money, and pretends that it's outside money borrowing the Treasury money, which it's not. They got a fancy name for it called quantitative easement. Right. Bernie Madoff went to jail for that. You can't borrow money.
It's true.
And so the result of all this is that the dollar is plummeting. My employees, let's get to what matters to me.
Yes.
My employees are being paid in 80 and 75-cent dollars, and it's going south. Even if I bring money from Macau and give raises and stuff like that, I can't keep up with the destruction of the living standard of the working people in my world.
So tell me, what do we do? You were a big supporter of President Obama. You voted for him. You gave money to the Democrats. You switched. Do you believe that Mitt Romney can really create 12 million jobs? Or how do
Mitt Romney doesn't create 12 million jobs.
Yes.
We know from the study of history that the only thing that creates a better life is the demand for labor. It is created in the private sector. If the government is going to hire everybody, it's called communism.
Right.
I mean, we put everybody in the army, put everybody in the postal department, put everybody in the agriculture department. That's preposterous and ridiculous. And on top of it, the government makes a lousy deal on labor contracts.
But why, as you told me privately all the time, there's all this money sitting on the side. Guys like you that...
2 or 3 trillion.
2 or 3 trillion. Why is it on the side? What's going to get them back in the game?
What President Romney can do, what we've got in the White House today is a first-rate campaigner and a great speech maker. And he's charming, and he's a nice man. He's a nice man. But in this world, it's what you do, not what you say. We've become so fascinated with style and glitz. Sometimes, and there's a hell of a thing coming from a guy like me, but I've got to say it's what you do, not what you say.
True.
We've got a guy running for office, Mitt Romney, who's not as good a campaigner as the president, but would be a first-rate president. The president is a first-rate campaigner, third-rate president.
Tell me something, because we've got 2 minutes. I'm going to interject. I want people here to have real specific solutions. Around healthcare, I know you're worried about your employees. Why do you think the healthcare program is so poor? What's missing from it? What would you change?
Any bill that's 2,700 pages, if you're a citizen and you're looking at this television program, I'm going to make a intemperate statement. If a piece of legislation is 2,700 pages, the public is getting screwed. Nothing that's 2,700 pages.
No one can read it.
Nobody has read it.
Yeah.
It's an outrageous example of bad government.
But it's really missing competition. Is that your concern?
If we take a break...
Right now under Obama, the prices are increasing for your employees. Is that...
Tony, when they take a break at CNN, most likely you're going to see an argument between Progressive, Allstate, and Geico on how to get cheaper auto insurance.
Yes.
Or you'll see an argument between Vonage, AT&T, and Verizon on cheaper cell phone service.
Yes.
You'll never see an ad for how to get cheaper health care insurance, because that's locked into little monopolies state by state. One of the things we got to do is get health care the borders taken away so we can have ads on television for private insurance. That'll cause the price to go down just like it does with auto insurance, just like it does for your cell phone.
You did this with your own company, did you not?
Absolutely.
Tell me some examples. You cut, $1,000 fee for an MRI down to what?
I got with my